with my new backdrop. It's nice, right? What do you mean it's uneven? What do you mean it looks like I got it for sale for $1.97? Ah, you guys are mean. Also, side note, what do we think about this little microphone cover? Does it mute outside noise good enough? Is it not good enough? Because I was using this cute little woodle. Do we want the woodle? Do we want this? Is this too distracting? Is this too boring? You let me know. One thing to note about me is I like to try and One thing to know about me is I like to make long form and short form content with similar genres. So if people like to watch the long form content with very detailed descriptions on what the heck I'm doing, you can go to my YouTube for that. But if you want something that's under a certain time limit, you can go to my TikTok, because a lot of that stuff tends to be short form, and I consider short form anything under 10 minutes. However, I noticed there was one topic I don't think I ever discussed on my YouTube channel, but I discussed it in multiple mini clips over on my TikTok for different situations, and that is how I do different transfers on a day-to-day basis. I never made a YouTube video just explaining all of the different transfers I do in a day. So that is going to be today's video. My eyelash keeps getting stuck. These aren't even put on very well, and I can explain. These are really, really horrible mini clusters, and I just want to get rid of them. These were the last ones that I had. They are put on unevenly, and I don't have the energy to take them off and redo it. Never buying super curved lashes ever again. Okay, first one is the couch, my favorite place throughout the day. Working from home, the couch is my closest friend. We unbuckle, we come in from an angle, baby. We get to the edge of this seat cushion, and then we just, whoa. Ta-da! I also am all bundled up because it is surprisingly cold today, but I wanted to also show off. I have a cute little butterfly here, and I have butterflies on my sweatpants. Today is just a very doing nothing, gonna edit this video, maybe make a drink later. That's just the vibe for the day. And while I'm sitting here, let me just show you how I get to the floor, because that is a discussion all on its own. What we do is we have this coffee table, we push it just a little bit out of the way, move the legs as far forward as they can go. I hold on to this, you see, it's the frame of the chair essentially. And then we just kind of drop on down. And getting onto the floor serves a couple of different purposes for me on the day-to-day, which mainly would be cleaning the wheelchair, cleaning the wheel, because if you don't clean the caster wheels enough from hair, especially when you have hair as long as mine, it can get caught up in those bearings, and then that's actually a hefty thing to get fixed, and I don't have money to get the caster wheels fixed, so I clean them out at least once to twice a week. I have a quick thing to explain as to why I do the getting back up transfer the way that I do it instead of the way that other wheelchair users, especially paraplegics, their method. I don't particularly follow that method. I know of it, but I don't do it, and I'll explain in a second. But what I'm going to do is, it's essentially just the same thing but backwards. I also make sure this is out of the way so my knees don't hit the coffee table, because I've done that before. Oh, whoops. And then we just, and we're good. And then I will show you how I get back into the chair. Essentially, it's just the same thing but in reverse. Now let me discuss why I use other seating things like a bed, a chair, a couch, instead of just hopping down the wheelchair and then hopping back up the wheelchair. So my chairs have always been very front heavy, and front heavy means this foot plate, very front heavy. It's just the way that all of my chairs have been, because I've used Quickie my entire life up until this moment. And even with stuff loaded up in my tote bag, it never works. It's just a very front heavy chair, and it has been known to flip forward on me if someone's not here helping distribute my weight by holding underneath my knees. They're not helping lift me, they're just kind of helping keep that weight dispersed evenly. So if I'm like, my head is here, my legs are here, just having that little bit of elevation helps. And a lot of wheelchair users, what they like to do is they will flip themselves so they are facing the chair on their knees, and they will crawl up into their wheelchairs. I don't do that for a multitude of reasons. One, their chairs are much lower to the ground, and they are far more compact, and they're easier to grab things. I am a long woman, I am a tall woman, and my chairs sit a little bit further back, and they sit taller for me. However, I also have very brittle bones. I was paralyzed at 2 years old, so a lot of my leg stuff developed either extremely slow, not properly, or not at all. And my bones are very fragile in my legs, and I have bones that are kind of turning in on themselves because they don't really know how to grow properly. It's a confusing thing, but it happens. I also have a hip that's out of socket, not related to my paralysis. That's a whole other story. And doing that method, it just would not be feasible for me. That's pretty much all I can say about that. But it works for me, and I don't usually get onto the floor very often, if ever. It's pretty rare that I'm not somewhere where there's a couch, a chair. I can just do and do my thing. Welcome to my bedroom, my favorite place in my house, next to my couch. First transfer of the day, last transfer of the day, unless I decide to sleep on my couch, because I, in fact, do have free will. It's the easiest transfer because the bed sits a little bit higher, so it makes the jump up and the jump down super easy for me. We just put both legs on the bed and we hooah! Ta-da! Very simple. There's really not much to say about that. A lot of paraplegics actually do it a different way. I have seen many of my friends, they will park their chair at the foot of their bed, transfer, and usually it's their torso first, leaving their legs on the thing. I'm not flexible enough to do that, so props to you guys. And then they'll hop their way up. And a great example to see that, I think it's in the Hulu film Run with Sarah Paulson and Kira Allen. I think she had it at the end of her bed. If not, she had it like here. It was somewhere at the end of her bed. And I thought that was intriguing because that was the first time I ever saw someone do that. And then I saw other friends that I made out here in Los Angeles do the same thing. And that blew my mind. Some of them will have it the other way. And I never think to ask them when I see them do it because it'd be awkward if I just brought it up randomly one day like, hey, I saw you recently, 2 years ago, transfer this way. Why do you do that? So if I do see them do it again, I will ask because that's the appropriate time to do it. But if you know someone or you do it, why? We're just going to get back into the chair. Again, it's simple. It's just if I'm getting dressed for an event or I'm just getting up in the morning, the one downside to doing the transfer this way is the fact that the pant leg on my right leg always rolls up and I constantly have to fix it and shimmy and readjust everything, and it's really, really annoying. But what can you do besides do a different transfer? Okay, letting it all drop on down to the foot plate. I wait until I get that right foot on the foot plate, and then if I can shimmy the left one on there, I will as well. And then it's really just a little wah. And that's pretty much it. And I think the pant leg kind of listened to me this time. I like wearing sweatpants or pants that have a little logo on the front because that kind of can help indicate to me. Sometimes I can't see the seams on some of my articles of clothing. So this is really helpful for me to be able to see and get a good idea. It's also really funny if I wheel past my mirror and I don't check my legs and I can just see one pant leg is like up to my knee. I've been straightening my hair for the past few days and I let it go natural for the first time and it doesn't know how to act and it's really angering me. So we're not going to talk about it. If you see something sticking up where it shouldn't, no, you didn't. Welcome to my bathroom. If you had seen my previous video on how I was making this home wheelchair accessible for me, you already know that there was a sliding shower door here. Had to get that removed. I had to purchase all of the things for the shower curtain to make this accessible because there was a sharp bar, as you probably heard in the last video, that would have cut up my foot had I tried. But it's really simple. I actually like having this lifted area in the shower. It's technically just a ledge, but I like it because it gives my feet somewhere to sit. So I get as close as possible to the shower chair that I also had to repurchase. And then a little blah. I get a lot of people asking me in person and not in person why I tend to do my transfer legs first instead of torso first. And it's because I am elongated, if you will, and it makes it easier for me with how my center of gravity turns itself. It makes it a whole lot easier. But I slide on over, we throw this closed. I have my tower of products here. I brought my old handheld shower head thing from my previous home because there was none. It was just a regular shower head thing. And handheld shower things are best for wheelchair users, especially paraplegics. Makes it so much easier. The transfer back out is actually going to be a lot quicker than it actually is because there's no water or soap in my way. But I like having this here because I can just pull it, get it ready, dry off mostly in the shower. Weirdly enough, the funniest part about me telling you how I do a lot of my transfers legs first is I actually don't do it when I get out of the shower. I put my legs on that same ledge, so it gives me a little bit of stability. It also doesn't help that, again, they are wet from the shower and then the ledge gets all wet, so they're kind of slipping and sliding all around, which is annoying. But we just kind of go in backwards. I think this is the only transfer where I do that. I think this is the only one. Why? I'm not really sure. And then we just kind of lift. We lift. We get stuff readjusted underneath us. On to the trickiest transfer I have to do. It angers me, but I've made it work. It's hard for you to see from where I have you set up because this is the furthest back it can go. This ledge to the shower, this one, sits back further than the ledge to this doorway. And so the toilet is really far back and it's at a very odd angle. Now basically what I have to do is Tetris myself into here, right? And then we're just doing this. We get to the edge of that seat. I gotta move this out of the way. And what I do is I put the left leg down, similar to how you probably saw me get back off the couch. I had one leg on the footrest and then one just chilling on the floor. I'm doing that, but to actually get onto the chair, the seat, sorry. I move then my right leg as close as possible to the toilet while still sitting on the footrest. And this is difficult because I usually don't just sit on the lid, but we're gonna try it. And then we're gonna gently, usually my leg just falls off anyway. Shift everything because I don't like how slippery this is with sweatpants on, but I think you can get the idea. I then will unlock the right side brake and I just kind of zhuzh it horizontally so it's parallel to me. And then I just rotate myself. Do my thing, yada, yada, yada. Shimmy this thing back around. Tetris it back into here to where it's at an angle. And it's the same thing just in reverse. I've gotten pretty good at it. When I first started, it took me a long time to figure out this method. And I will explain why it was difficult for me and why I have to do it at this angle and not the angle where you'd say, oh, well, why don't you do it on the side where the wall's further back and a little bit more flush with the toilet. I'll explain why in a second. Boom. To answer the question, why don't I just rotate the chair in the bathroom to be closer to the shower wall instead of the wall to the doorway of the bathroom? Because that shower wall is closer in proximity and almost on the exact same latitude, if you will, of the toilet itself. And I don't do that because my right hip is out of socket because I tried that way. And the problem is I have to transfer where my right hip is the first thing that's going to that location if I'm getting off of it. I can't let my right hip kind of be dragged, if you will, behind me because it's out of socket and it has extra weight that you don't realize until you're having to move with it. And that is why I just do the method that you saw. It makes it easier for me. It's quicker for me. I have it down pat now at this point. Why change it is how I see it. I also am going to insert some clips here, so don't go anywhere, where I show you how I do stairs going up and down in different locations, my car, a bar stool. These are from TikTok, and the only reason I have not refilmed them in this context is just because they're already filmed and nothing would really change if I filmed them now. Nothing would be different is what I'm saying. So fun fact, we were just discussing this. I've never done this on my own before. So this will be interesting.
Hello. So this is the hard part. And I always worry about hurting my feet because it's a cramped car and it's not as glamorous as one might think. Okay, how you doing? And then I have a cool little conveyor belt, but it takes forever.
And I think that's it, actually. A lot of my transfers are really simple. I don't do many unique transfers throughout the day on a day-to-day basis. Of course, there are airlines, and then if I'm on vacation and there's different things like a bus or a train or whatever, it's obviously those are unique situations, but I'm not doing them every single day. You know what I mean? And that's really just kind of it. I wish they were more intriguing. I want to do a comparison video because the way I do transfers actually is not the same way a lot of wheelchair users that I know that I'm friends with out here. It's not the way that they do them. And it's really interesting to me to see how they learned from either physical therapists, their occupational therapists, whoever, whereas I learned from my aide or from my sister who's paralyzed. It's unique seeing the different perspectives of medical professionals versus how you're taught just through life experience and those who have lived the experiences before you have. So much for watching this video. I hope it shed some light on some intriguing topics for you as it was for me to film and then see how other people do them after having me do it for over 2 decades now, and then seeing people either learning for the first time or learning from someone else on how it makes their life easier. I like seeing the differences in that. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below if you have any video ideas, inspirations, questions about this topic or other wheelchair topics that are family friendly. Thank you so much. In my description box, I have my social media links if you'd like to hit me up and chat with me there. I do read them as often as I possibly can. I also have a Patreon, so it's a nice, small, collective family, and I do chat with you guys over there quite often. So please hit me up over there if that so intrigues you. I also have coupon codes and my books and all the fun things down there to save you money, or if you want different styles of content from me, my books are down there below as well. And with all that being said, I will see you all later.